Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. It's a nice sunny spring day here in the south of England. Hopefully we're beginning to see the first bit of spring coming, which is nice. Bit more Bantam antics today, Bantics if you like. We've got the crankcase halves temporarily bolted together, and we're going to run through the gears to make sure that all the gears go in nicely, and then we'll split it apart again, put some well seal on. It doesn't have a gasket, so we'll use a bit of well seal and we'll get it bolted together, and that'll be that stage of the rebuild done. And then on to the clutch and primary drive. And then over on the bench here I have got the clutch drum, or clutch basket if you prefer. And you may recall, I think I mentioned before, that the fit of the bush in there is not good at all, which would cause the clutch drum to sort of wobble about on the input shaft. That's no good. So rather than the rationale was, rather than spend £30 or so buying a bush, when there may be wear to the bush and to the bore in the drum, I just spent I think £12 or £13 on a big chunk of aluminium bronze, and we're going to make a bush. So certainly in this video we'll measure up the bore, and we'll figure out the dimensions for a new bush, and probably make a start on that as well. But first things first, we're going to have a look at how the gears select and make sure that they all go in properly. So we'll do that now. Right, let's have a run through of the gears, just to make sure they all go in. A lot of pedal travel on these, only 3 gears, and yeah, that's going to first, and then back into neutral. That's second gear, third gear, back into neutral, back into first, and back into neutral. So they all select. Like I say, it's a long way to move that pedal, but all the gears go in, so I'm more than happy with that. Right, so ready to put the crankcase halves together. I've cleaned all the mating surfaces. It's a metal to metal joint on the Bantam, hence why a lot of them that you see drip 2-stroke guns from the bottom, but we're going to be using a jointing compound, so that's why it's really important that they're super clean surfaces. I've done both sides. See, that one's nice and clean, and used methylated spirit, the old purple nectar, don't drink it, available from your hardware store or DIY store. Perfect for getting the old oil and sort of bits of contaminants, and leaving a residue-free surface. And the jointing compound we're going to use is this stuff, well seal. Probably the most popular compound, I think, amongst the British bike guys. It's non-hardening, so you don't have any problems, particularly on the 4 strokes, of lumps of gasket sealer breaking off and travelling around the engine. Which is an easy way to wreck an engine. So we're going to use this stuff. It's good, I quite like it. I also like the Loctite 5922, that's another non-hardening gasket sealant, which would do the job just as well. So I'm going to put it on with a little brush. So I'm just going to squeeze a bit out into this metal tray, and then apply it to both sides of the joint, wait 5 minutes for it to go kind of tacky, and then you can put the joint together. I'm just going to go around. It's a bit like shellac, I suppose. It's probably the closest thing I can think of to describe it. that might actually be what it is. But anyway, it doesn't go hard, and that's the thing. That's the main thing. So she'll do this, and then we'll wait 5 minutes, and we'll stick the halves together. You probably don't want to watch me painting that on, oops, excuse me, for the next few minutes. So okay, so we're back. I've got both sides coated, and it's been about 5 minutes. Let me just do a bit of dodgy camera action. That's the kind of that's the look you get with the well seal, kind of a yellowish brown coating, and I've done both sides of the crankcase, so we're good to put it back together. I have to say, I'm not advocating that you start sniffing products in your workshops, because that's probably a bad idea, particularly when it's got harmful written on it, but it smells really nice. Think of if you think of that smell you get when you walk into a shoe shop and you can kind of smell the shoe polish, or if you walk into an old bookshop and the smell of the old book bindings. So who knows, maybe the product that's in this stuff is in shoe polish and book bindings. I don't know, but that's kind of the smell it gives off. It does tell you to work in a well ventilated area, so this is definitely not me advocating that you start sniffing gasket sealant. Not a good idea, but at the same time it does smell nice. So we'll get this assembled, get some screws in, and there we go. Get some screws in, and we'll go from there. I'm just going to wipe up a few bits that have dribbled out, and then I think we'll go around the whole assembly with some methylated spirits just to get the excess seepage, for want of a better word, off the thing. Now, with the screws, I'm going to be reusing the old ones, and that's what they look like, wherever I can, because I want this bike, and this engine in particular, and the bike as a whole, to retain that kind of old look about it. I want it to look like a Survivor, which it is. So I'm going to do everything mechanical to the bike so that it works properly, but I'll clean, obviously. I don't want dirt all over it, or oil and grease, but I'm not, as you can see, I'm not buffing up any surfaces or anything like that. So where the screws are good, I'll reuse them. Well, let's just get a few screws in, and then I'll bring you back when it's all back together. But I have to say, I'm quite happy that it's finally going back together, because it's been quite a while. I've been quite busy in other areas, so I've not progressed the Bantam build very quickly, really, but we're getting there. I will be replacing some of the screws, because some of them were quite badly damaged. Just get a couple in over here to keep it even. Some of them were quite badly damaged, and some of them were a bit, well, there was a motley collection, shall we say, of screws that people have put in over the years that weren't correct. I need some more spring washers. I think I've got some here. Let's get a couple of screws in. And the well seal is starting to squeeze out of the joints, which is good, and hopefully I'll have a nice oil tight seal, and we won't have that traditional Bantam 2-stroke ooze dripping out the bottom of the engine every time the bike is parked. Right, I'll bring you back when I've got a few more screws in and we're just about there. Right, we're back. It's now Sunday morning. I decided to call it a day yesterday after I'd put the crankcase screws in. So starting again this morning. I've turned the camera around, I've moved it through the side, as you can see. I became aware yesterday that you got a great view of my elbow and not a fantastic view of the work. So hopefully you didn't miss much. It was just me putting screws in, but I do apologise about that. You should be able to get a better view now the camera's been moved. So it all went together reasonably well. I reused the casing screws where they were good enough. A couple of instances I had to change them out, and I had these BSF cap heads, which are a black finish, and they don't stand out too much. So they look all right. And then on the primary side, turn it round. On the primary side, there's a screw there that goes all the way through. Oh, don't fall over. Just the one. And yeah, I didn't forget to put that in, which I think it would have been easy to do. So just to finish this stage off, I'm going to fit the drain plugs, and there's 2 drain plugs. Let's get it. It's not doing any mischief, is it? No. 2 drain plugs, as I say. You've got the gearbox drain plug here, and then there is a crankcase drain plug there, which is a little bit unusual. Most sort of more modern 2-strokes don't have a crankcase drain plug. Obviously, any point where you can lose crankcase compression isn't great on a 2-stroke, but before they had sort of dedicated 2-stroke oils, they just used ordinary engine oil mixed in with the petrol, and you used to get a slurpy, horrible residue in the bottom of the crankcase that sometimes needed draining out, and so that's why it has that drain plug. Bit of a sort of hark back to earlier times when things weren't so easy. So let's get these fitted. I've put new fibre washers onto them, so we'll get them screwed in. And this spanner was my granddad's, and he used it on his Bantam back in the 1950s, so I'm very proud to be using it on my Bantam. It's a 3/8 Whitworth ring spanner, and it's absolutely perfect for the gearbox drain plug. So that's in there nice and firm, and then we'll put our crankcase drain in. Again, new fibre washer. And another one of my granddad's tools, a 3/16 Whitworth or quarter BS spanner. And just make sure that's done up nice and firmly, and that'll be fine. And then turn the engine over again. Sorry for getting in the way. And we have the combined filler plug and dipstick, which goes in through the top, and I'll just put that in loosely because obviously we'll need to fill the gearbox once the engine's all back together. Again, nice new fibre washer fitted to that. Actually, I'm going to take it out and show you something. You'll notice there at the top, little sort of milled slot, and then a hole drilled in the in the nut, or in the bolt head rather, which communicates with that slot, and it provides a breather for the gearbox. So that's quite nice, quite neat. We'll get that in there, we won't nip that up because it needs to come out again. And that is pretty much everything screwed together. And so now we can crack on and do this bush for the clutch, which goes on there like that, and then clutch drum goes on the outside of there like that. Primary sprocket, it's a single row timing chain. It's there's no adjuster, there's no tensioner. It just sits in there, and then obviously the clutch center is splined and transmits the drive between the clutch drum and the first motion shaft of the gearbox via the clutch plates. I'll have to get a new clutch pack for it, or at least some new friction plates. They look a bit manky, so we'll need to do that. But as you can see, there's a bit of headache on that bush, and that's why we're going to have a go at making another one. So that'll be the next job.